Okay, here we go. So I was bad. I went ahead and ordered another drone like an idiot. Um, I was right. This camera um, has Wi-Fi, and what that enables you to do is you can either control the drone with Bluetooth, but still connect via Wi-Fi, which is convenient because that means you can fly the drone with the fly pad, which I don't have in front of me. Oh. Yeah. The controller. Basically, you can fly it with the controller. So it'll go Bluetooth direct. But then, like with my phone, I just connect to the rtsp stream myself. You could run Parrot software, which would give you a couple different things. You once you have the Wi-Fi interface, you can control the drone over Wi-Fi as well, which means theoretically you could pair a Bluetooth device to your phone and then control the drone with that. So I don't know, like if you could do like, you know, this is Bluetooth. You could probably pair this with your phone or pair any old controller, which just means you have a range of stuff. What's odd is the controller didn't come with the cell phone mount, which is super lame. In the kit, it did come with these, which I'm not going to use. These aren't horrible, but I don't have a use for them, and I don't want to fly VR. I mean, there's only one camera in the thing, so I think you're better looking at a screen. So it's kind of goofy that they didn't include a damn mount for the phone, or, you know, for the phone. Whereas if you buy the controller separately, it comes with the mount for the phone. Anyway, I've had a lot of fun messing with this thing. I've ditched just the SDK because I'm not gonna author my own. I'm not gonna author my own programs, but I can show you a few of the programs that I've been messing with. Let's see, this is probably a mess over here. I think the first one, which I think I showed in the last video, is was it PyParrot? Yeah, no. Oh god, it's PyParrot, and I basically downloaded a couple of the things like this demo. God, the GUI. I don't know if I got that one working. But the claw, so like the claw, for instance, here you can go via Bluetooth. Oh shit! And by the way, I had all kinds of trouble with Bluetooth, and the reason was I was attempting to use this Bluetooth that I have used forever in my Raspberry Pi. This just basically boots and is a Bluetooth speaker, and it works great for that. But even though this is a 4.0 low energy device, the BLE, I could never scan using LE scan with HDI tools. I don't know. This was like a $4 Bluetooth that I bought a long time ago. It could be something, I don't know, with my kernel, or it could just be whatever, but I bought a nicer one. I spent like $12 And I guess this guy is a pluggable something. Pardon me. Yeah. Yeah, this pluggable whatever. Like I said, I spent like $12 on Amazon, and it's worked without a hitch. So I've had no troubles connecting and doing like a HCI tool LE scan. It pretty much just shows this quad. But now that we've got the Wi-Fi, pretty much I can just connect using VLC to the RTSP stream. And what the RTSP stream looks like, I don't have the battery. I'm not gonna demo this shit, but I just wanted to show my observations. RTSP. Yeah, so when you connect to the drone, it puts it in the 99 subnet, and the drone is .1. There's also a .2, which I assume, well, .1 is probably the camera. .2 is probably the drone. I'm not even sure. I haven't dug through anything to really figure it out, but this is where the RTSP stream is. So another super useful thing that I found that made my life less sucky. So I've got that horribly named Wi-Fi majigger in there, and that I just stole from a Raspberry Pi as well. And then I installed WICD, which is a Wi-Fi daemon. And so this allows me to refresh, connect, and manage my wireless interface. And the nice thing is that, like, once I attach to the drone, in client mode, it doesn't ruin my default route that I already have established. And this is just a nice self-contained thing. Like, you could probably use this in place of Network Manager, like Network Manager proper on Ubuntu, which is what I run, the Debuntus. But I just found that just running this separate and using it for wireless is super convenient with the Mambo. So kind of my flow right now is with the bits of different code that I found. I played with some of these Pythons. I think I just pip installed. I was playing with beats too. I pip installed PyParrot. Yeah, and then once that was installed, I could run all these demos and stuff. So, oops. Basically, yeah, if you want to connect via Bluetooth, if you have a Bluetooth low energy device, you can put in the MAC address of the Bluetooth. But if you want to go IP, you can just put the IP address in there if you have the camera. And if that's the case, you just set this to true, and then you're able to fly completely over IP. So kind of what I'm thinking. This, by the way, all these, there's great documentation with PyParrot. The person who wrote it documented the hell out of it, and that's really cool. And there's a bunch of examples. And most of the examples you can disable the flight mode. So like if you just want to test, you can, you know, basically disable the actual flying, and that way you can test. But what I actually wanted was just keyboard input. I just wanted to fly with a keyboard. And what this was doing was just running some things and then you know, stopping. So it's more like an automated thing. And in fact, you can see here I ran the I think it was the GUI thing. And so this just basically dumped a bunch of PNGs, but you can see that it, you know, was snapping pictures out of the front camera and then taking off and then doing a flip and then landing. So this is all programmatic. Zero input from me, just the computer flying it. So that's like super cool. You don't have to have the SDK and all that stuff. It's all implemented in PyParrot. So that was cool. But then I ended up, oh God, what was it? Is it npm? I'm not a big fan. Yeah, npm-parrot-minidrone. In here, you know, I don't like programming in JavaScript, but and there's the GitHub. Yeah, this actually had some examples. One of them was a keyboard example. So basically I liked this. I think this was only working over Bluetooth. I can't actually remember what I did to, yeah, I didn't make it too far down this rabbit hole, but I think it looks for the Bluetooth device. The first, you know, 3 bytes are vendor dependent in the MAC address, so it's able to discover that it's in fact a Mambo drone and then connect to it. But it has all this nice keyboard control, which is switched through here. So basically, with that, you fire up WICD, you attach to the drone, you fire up VLC, you get the rtsp stream going, you know, you hit T and you take off, and then the drone is stable and hovering, and you can go fly around and do stuff. So this is just a good example of like real-time input. So neither of these are really what I want, because you know, like maybe I can convert this to work over Wi-Fi. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big fan of npm because you end up with like so many dependencies, and then to be honest, I don't understand npm proper because I use it for some other OnVIF stuff, for some camera things, and if you ever update anything, it just overwrites whatever configs you had, and like I don't understand the flow of npm, and in general I attribute it as, you know, in this case, if you haven't fixed your permissions on your Bluetooth device, which, you know, you would need to add like a udev rule or something to fix the perms, then you have to run this as sudo. So essentially you're running like sudo node and then this example. And, you know, underneath all of this is a whole lot of other code that may or may not have been looked at. You know, it's not like a Debian package where packages get checked in and get peer review and all those things. Like, this is just fucking JavaScript. So, you know, it's kind of like adding a website script to root. Like, I don't like Node, but this is the second time I've had to use Node. ONVIF, ONVIF, whatever that fucked up camera protocol is, especially for like pan, tilt, zoom cameras and things like that. Horribly insecure, but you know, I want a keyboard interface to pan, tilt, and zoom my camera, and Node and npm, you know, basically made that possible without me having to write code. So I'm not knocking it, but I think ultimately it would be nice to have a more basic setup, especially one that you could potentially run, you know, remotely, because you're gonna, you know, I'm either gonna install all of this crap on a Pi and just rely on the Pi's Wi-Fi range, I guess, to fly the drone within distance of the Pi. One benefit there could be that you could route to the IP address. So, you know, if the Raspberry Pi is on your network, just your normal Ethernet network, then you could write a program that, you know, uses the Wi-Fi in client mode and attaches to the Parrot for command and control, and then also sets up a route so that you can route to the rtsp stream. And that way, kind of the flow would be that you know, fire up, you know, just log into your Raspberry Pi, fire up your program, and then from there your keyboard input would drive the drone, and then, you know, you would just fire up VLC locally, or maybe you could just fire up VLC locally and then in the, you know, in the background SSH in and whatever. Like I've done similar stuff. Like for that Node shit, this will probably expose my camera passwords, but I don't really give a shit. Yeah, I wrote this really horrible VLC pan tilt zoom thing, and this is pretty gross, but what it does is opens up mate terminal, it titles it, and I can't remember why the fuck I titled it. Yeah, and then it places the window in a specific place, and then it runs VLC in the background. So once we exit there, we sleep for a second. That's to let VLC start up and get established, and get connected and start rendering. And then I think this was forcing a window called VLC, which is hopefully the only one running, so there's no error checking here. And then it actually puts it in front, so it brings it in front on X. Then I don't know why I called this again. Don't know. And then we fire up Node. And then once that exits successfully, then we kill all VLC. So, like, this is really gross, but if you can imagine, you know, firing up your rtsp stream, and then if you can SSH in with keys to wherever your remote Raspberry Pi is that's going to fly your drone, and then you tear it all down when you're done. So just to give you an example, like this works like this. This, yeah, so we fire this up, we get our thing, and then the only thing I have to do sometimes is click on, you know, that which is controlling the keyboard input, which is this other terminal. But then I have control of my pan-tilt zoom camera. So, you know, rather than like authoring a whole program, like this is just a way to piece together something that can function. And it really wouldn't matter, you know, where I'm running this, especially because my network is, you know, hardwired and stuff. So, anyway, and then when I Control C out of this, it tears down everything. See, so it cleaned up after itself. So I don't know if I'm gonna attempt to learn some Python and make the Python more, I guess, interrupt driven, or, you know, for the keyboard input. I might take a whack at that, because PyParrot already has all of the functions that I need. You know, it's got everything for the drone. So maybe if I look at some more examples or whatever, then I can just build a similar, you know, case statement or whatever. And that probably has the least amount of dependencies. I'm not really a fan of pip because it gets confusing as hell when, at least for me, when you end up with multiple versions of Python and multiple libraries for users, and whether it's user installed or globally installed, and just like I don't know. I mean, maybe if I didn't run such an old version of Debian or Ubuntu, like I'm not constantly updating, because if shit's working, you know, I don't want to make shit not work. I don't want to app get destroy my box. Anyway, yeah. So I guess if you haven't figured it out, I'm super fucking lazy. But this drone is a lot of fun. It is working really well for me. And, you know, connecting to it, like probably the weirdest thing is that you have to connect to it in client mode. And my old Parrot, I remember I put on the network. What I might do or attempt to do is, you know, maybe just use an old wireless router and put it in client mode and have it connect to the Parrot. If I can get that connectivity to be reliable, then I may just stick an access point up that its only job is to wait for the Parrot Mambo access point to show up, connect to it in client mode, and then make it available on my network. And that's a really lazy way of getting this on my network where it's reachable by everything. And then I could just, you know, run my little program from anywhere. And I think also an access point might give me better range overall. It's certainly easier to go wire up, although a Raspberry Pi is pretty easy too. But I doubt the performance is nearly as good. What else? Yeah. So anyway, no demos, but just a little bit of research. And yeah, like I don't even mind owning two of these, because, you know, I bought the first one for $54 that came with the guns and stuff. I bought the $37 controller. For $39, I could have gotten an entire refurbished X plane with controller and another battery. So, you know, if you're putting together a kit to hack on, and you want to go cheap and you don't have any interest in the camera, then be sure to buy that deal, because you'll end up with 2 batteries and, you know, a whole extra, whatever that extra thing is. That thing might be fun. And then you can have the controller, which is great just for bopping around. And buying the controller gets you the cell phone mount too, which apparently this drone with the video doesn't even come with. So that's like super lame. What else can I say? I've demoed this thing to a few people. I'm actually constantly amazed by how stable it flies. When I'm out and about, which I'm not like flying drones all the time, but I have been playing with this one. And I never get sick of not having to worry when it's sitting there hovering. Like, I mean, I guess that's relatively new to me, because the old way of doing that was with GPS hold. You know, there's certainly been enough drones out there now that are doing the optical flow. You know, I know even the open source stuff, you can get optical flow stuff. But it's not, you know, aside from the original AR drone, it's not something I've really gotten to play with. And even on the original AR drone, you know, you couldn't really play around in your house or indoors. Like, that thing was still kind of a monster. Whereas this thing is pretty harmless, and it is totally fun to just be able to let go of the sticks. I've even turned off the remote and just left the thing hovering. I've pushed it and it will correct itself. Yeah, it's just like having a little, you know, nice GPS hold just indoors. And I guess you know, you can do other stuff, put your hand underneath it and it'll kind of follow your hand too. That's a fun trick. But the hackability of this drone, I think it's the best one. So I guess whenever I get my final, whenever I give up and I've got enough to kludge together whatever the hell it is I'm going through, you know, whatever it is I'm building for this guy, I guess it's just going to be a little intimidator that, you know, maybe when the maybe when the pan tilt zoom camera detects a car coming down the road, you know, I'll just send the drone out and, you know, move several feet to the right or whatever, and just be hovering in my driveway, being intimidating. Or maybe we'll pull the stream back and close the loop and do some object classification and maybe some object tracking. It's a little advanced for me. I do it with my camera, just for identifying, you know, well, really just to cut down on the false positives for motion. But this guy, like, I know with some of the OpenCV stuff and some of the like the ROS and the robot stuff, like, there's tons of libraries out there that will utilize those kinds of things. And you know, if you throw in object classification along with orientation, then you know, maybe we can do this something that will be able to hover, identify a person, and then track that person. So maybe we can pull something like that off. Yeah. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else I discovered. No, that's it. So sorry, no demos. The shit's a little clunky. I never have fucking batteries that are charged. I'm probably gonna buy an external battery charger. In terms of getting a bigger battery in this, like, I mean, the motors run cool. This camera runs hot. This gets really hot. I think, I can't remember, like 60C. I mean, we're talking like processor hot. There are thermal issues with this dude, so extending the runtime, trying to fit in a bigger battery, those are all things that I'm thinking about, but haven't actually attempted to make any progress on. I also still have not tested with a SD card to see what the recording looks like. But again, there's tons of stuff to hack on. This new drone also, it seemed like the Legos fit better. I really had to mash things on to my other drone, but this new one, it seems a little better tolerances. I don't know why. But anyway, yeah. So I don't think anybody's watching this video, but I'm throwing it out there for, people that want ideas of shit to hack on. So hope you enjoy it.